Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Another incredible day of World Cup action is upon us. We saw the very first use of the penalty shootout today, which sent two teams home as well. We're going to cover all the on-field action and a little bit more with this episode of SOCCER.COM Live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SOCCER.COM Live set. I am Cole here with Adam and Martin. Guys, first use of penalty shootout today saw Spain go home packing and Denmark go home as well. Initial thoughts on the two games so far?
Just incredible matches all around. I think we saw a big upset this morning, and maybe a pluckier performance than we thought we might see from the underdog in the afternoon game.
Yeah, rather different kinds of games than yesterday, which were rather epic kind of back and forth games. These were very tactical displays from some of the teams, defensive, holding out for ties. Certainly in the early game, Russia looked to nullify Spain's play as much as possible and then hold out for extra time and penalties, which worked, and then they won, which obviously in the more of the lottery scenario. And then, this afternoon's game was a good one, and both two good teams could have gone either way. Croatia probably a bit more quality in the end. Denmark, Schmeichel did as best he could, saving couple of penalties, one in regular time as well. So I mean, I think good for the tournament for Russia to go through for the host. That's always good. Shame to see Spain go home because they do have such a talented team, and Croatia continue to be a potential dark horse winner of the whole thing.
Yeah, I will say it looked like Jose Mourinho would be very proud of the Russians' performance today. Just bagging the goal off the penalty and then kind of sitting back with, they had all 11 players behind the ball at one point. But when it comes down to it at the end of the game, Spain did go home. Is there something that you can almost pinpoint? Is there something that you would change that might see Spain go through? Or is there something that, like, if you would switch this on field, you would have seen Spain end up come home the victor?
For me, I thought that Spain did really well keeping the ball, which, shocker. It's Spain, they're going to keep the ball. But what I was surprised about was just the lack of bite that their possession had. Usually you see, and especially in some of the group games, Diego Costa was the guy for them who, while he's not a traditional possession player, was able to take their possession and convert it into goals. And the way that Russia lined up, they had 11 people within 40 yards of their own net, and that, I think, was a little bit perplexing for Spain. And they've got to expect that people are going to play that way. And when Euro put some of the subs on, you saw Iniesta come on. He made a difference going forward. You saw Aspas come on for Costa, and I thought he opened up the game a little bit because he's just a different player. He can get in behind, he can get wide, and especially once Rodrigo came on in extra time, you saw Spain playing a little bit more wide open, a little bit more direct, which was successful for them. They had a couple opportunities at the very end, especially the one that comes to mind for me is Rodrigo being able to turn the defender and go on a 2v2. Which they squandered, which was unfortunate. But I would have liked to see a little bit more urgency, a little bit more. Isco was on the ball a lot and had a lot of good passes, but I just think once he got on the ball, it was 4, 5, 6 touches before it was getting off of his foot, and I think that was a big problem for Spain. They needed to move quicker, especially against a team like that where it's just blocks like a 4-block, and you got your 2 up top. I just don't think they adjusted tactically to what Russia put out there.
And I'll pose this one to you, Martin. In extra time, we saw the use of maybe a little bit of VAR come into play on one of the set pieces there from Spain. Both Gerard Piqué and Sergio Ramos being held down by the Russian players. Was it a penalty for you, or is it something that you think maybe no? It was a good no call in the
not for
in the
me.
tunnel play.
I think that I think with those ones, there was some grappling going on. Certainly, Piqué and Ramos do a lot of that themselves. So I think that was probably a pretty good no call. For me, it wasn't blatant enough to justify a penalty at that crucial stage of the game. Even though there was a bit of tugging, there have been some far more obvious ones not given in the tournament. So I think that would have been harsh if it had been given.
Fair enough. And of course, moving on to the next game, we had the Croatia matchup with Denmark. Kasper Schmeichel really standing on his head that game. And was there something maybe that stood out for you more so than most with Croatia's way they played today? We didn't necessarily see as much Modric-Rakitic combination in the middle, but they still had their influence in the game within their own separate kind of parties, if you will.
When we have these middling, smaller-sized European countries, we know the way that they're going to play. They play a tactically sound game. And Denmark was they did what we thought they were going to do. And they had their chances, which they obviously took at the very beginning with Jorgensen's goal. Unfortunate to concede that Mandzukic goal because he just got the ball through sheer luck. But I think you even still saw, even though Modric and Rakitic were frustrated throughout the entire game, you still saw Modric shine through, especially towards the end of that extra time period when you saw him getting on the ball, making things happen, especially with that one ball that got played forward at the very end where they got the penalty. Like, that's an absolutely world-class ball to make that turn and hit that first time.
Especially after 116 minutes of play.
Right. So I think I understand why people might be unimpressed by the way Croatia played, but I think, honestly, you have to give more credit to Denmark because of the way that they were able to frustrate a truly world-class midfield.
I mean, that's very well put. You can't really say much more than that. It's definitely going to lead into some interesting matchups further down the line. I think the next matchup between the two teams is going to be definitely one to keep an eye out for. We're actually going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with you guys after this short message. Hey guys, and welcome back to SOCCER.COM Live. Cole here with Adam and Martin. And gents, we have a heck of a day of games tomorrow as well. First matchup, of course, probably the headliner of some of the knockout stage games. You guys expecting another France-Argentina-esque game out of that?
On paper, Brazil should win that game, but we saw with Mexico's performance against Germany that they can obviously defy expectations and put in a really good performance. And actually then when they were expected maybe to win their final group game, they were rather disappointing, but maybe they were already thinking ahead to this knockout stage. I actually expect it to be a pretty good game. They're both two very good attacking teams with some defensive deficiencies, and I think that they will probably sling it out, and I would expect a fairly high-scoring game. We'll see.
I mean, you mentioned they're pretty top-heavy teams.
Yeah.
And especially now that Brazil is not going to have Marcelo at least fit to start that game. So I think you're going to see a lot of goals scored, hopefully. The games where Mexico has been successful have actually been pretty defensively minded. I'm not sure that they have been successful scoring a ton of goals. So I'm interested to see if they're able to score, 3 or 4 goals, because we know Brazil is going to score 2.
Yep.
That's just what they do. So I'm very intrigued to see the direction that the game goes. And I think Mexico definitely has the talent to pull it out, but right now it's looking like Brazil is the more likely to go through.
Yeah, I'll pose this question to you. If you're the coach of Mexico, tonight, tomorrow, setting up for this game, do you play like you did against Germany, where you hold your players behind the ball and bank on the counterattack? Or are you willing to go a little more open, knowing that Brazil is known for committing numbers into their attack? You can hopefully keep that game spread through your midfield and just trust your defense to do the job.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Juan Carlos Osorio, I'm setting up, like you said, like I did against Germany, because as we've seen, teams like Germany, teams like Spain, teams like Brazil, who have ball-playing center backs, who have ball-playing fullbacks, get up. And so when those teams lose the ball, they are vulnerable to the counterattack. And Mexico is probably the best counterattacking team in the tournament. So if I'm Juan Carlos Osorio, I'm going in with the idea that if we can get one goal to go ahead on the counterattack, maybe we can get another because we get Brazil coming out again. maybe we can go ahead 2 or 3 goals. So I think the way that they need to set up is probably the counterattack.
All right, well, then the final question for you guys is score predictions for tomorrow.
Score prediction for tomorrow, I'll say 2-2, Brazil, Mexico, and it goes to penalties. And then Belgium.
No.
Sorry. No. And who will win that?
Who will win that? Yeah.
I'll say Mexico win on penalties.
Really?
Yep. And then, Belgium, Japan. Go with Belgium win. Pretty comfortable. Say 3-1.
I will agree with you on the Belgium win. I think it's probably going to be a 2-0. I don't see Japan creating many chances, but I'm gonna differ with you on the Brazil. I think Brazil will win 3-1.
Okay.
I think they're gonna open up Mexico. I don't know if Mexico is defensively as sound as we think they are.
I'd have to agree with you on that. I think Brazil might take that 3-1, but I do think Belgium are gonna hold Japan goalless, and I think they're gonna end up scoring 3 with Lukaku probably scoring 2.
But as we've seen, I mean, we thought Spain was going to be 3-0 winners today, and
fair enough. Yeah, that one. I see you're just not willing to let go just quite yet.
Not yet.
But anyway, going to be some interesting action tomorrow. But in honor of today's games, I feel like we should do a giveaway.
Let's do it.
All right, Martin, I'll let you introduce it.
Okay. So today, in honor of the hosts, Russia, progressing to the quarterfinals, we have a Russia home jersey to give away. All you need to do is go to SOCCER.com/Russia and enter your details at the bottom of the page, including the password, which today is saved, since Igor Akinfeev was the hero of the day with his penalty saves. So go ahead, head over there for the chance to win a Russia home jersey.
One of the sharp-looking kids of the tournament, if I may say so.
It is indeed.
Both of them are.
Yeah. Very much so, yeah. They live to fight another day, and so do the Croats. Croats?
Yeah.
Croats?
Yeah.
Croatians.
Yeah.
So does Croatia. It'll be a very interesting matchup should when that round of 8 comes calling. But until then, make sure you guys stay tuned for all the action tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting day of action. Let us know what you guys are thinking through social media, soccer.com, as well. You guys can shout us out there. We love hearing from you. We're kind of fun ourselves every now and then, so it's not too bad. And, of course, make sure you guys watch again tomorrow as we will recap all the day's action and potentially have another giveaway. I think that's just about everything we have for you guys today. Indeed. Until next time, this has been Soccer.com Live. Have a great night.